Welcome back to the Talking Hedge. I'm Josh Kincaid, and this is your Cannabis Business Podcast. Today, we are live at the World Trade Center in Seattle talking about Budtenders. They're the critical link between bankruptcy and billions. Today, we're here with some fascinating guests. And so we're going to jump right into our panelists here. First, we have Alec Langston. He's a budtender at Dockside Cannabis. Alec has been a cannabis enthusiast for several years and has been budtending for about 3 years now. His passion is educating people about cannabis and budtending, which has been a great outlet for that, being a budtender. His goal is to help as many people and experience this wonderful plant as possible. His favorite part of the cannabis industry is changing that perception of cannabis skeptics and watching customers benefit from the guidance that's incredibly rewarding. And he's looking forward to developing within this industry and meeting new people along the way. We also have Bryan Yeager, CEO of lemonhaze.com. Lemonhaze is a cannabis tech platform with a history of presenting industry data and more recently hosting events with a focus on budtenders, which is providing innovative and relevant education, networking opportunities, and business exchanges along with nationally recognized entertainers who have a prominent voice in the normalization and growth of recreational cannabis industry. Ashley is a budtender at Green Lady Pot Shop in Olympia. She's a budtender in Olympia with a medical marijuana certificate. Rebecca Berry is a senior account manager at Wurk. Wurk is an all-in-one workforce management solution for highly regulated markets, including the cannabis industry. They've created an intuitive application to manage payroll, HR, timekeeping, and tax compliance with everything you need to streamline operations, reduce labor costs, and minimize regulatory risk. And also, remotely is Claire Kaufmann, Director of Client Services at Brightfield Group. Claire's nationally known CBD and cannabis business and marketing strategist. She currently works as the Director of Client Services at the Brightfield Group, an industry-leading CBD and cannabis market research firm. Claire has worked in the CBD and cannabis space for the past 7 years. She's worked in-house for vertically integrated cannabis companies and formerly as a Northwest Regional Director for BDS Analytics. Claire has also recently served on the OLCC, Recreational Marijuana Business Council in Oregon. Her take on the future trends of the cannabis industry and the question facing marketers and entrepreneurs are sought out by national and international media, cannabis industry leaders, and key players in the traditional marketing world. I'd like to thank everybody for being on board and being on the Talking Hedge podcast. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
And about the World Trade Center, the World Trade Center Tacoma grows trade and investment by providing direct access to the largest business network in the world with 300 offices in 99 countries. The World Trade Center in Tacoma is a lone trade service center for the Pacific Northwest. They have seminars and award ceremonies, conferences that can generate contacts and contracts. Trade research can clarify opportunities, and their matchmaking can turn those opportunities into trade. One of the things that I like about the World Trade Center is it gives me peace of mind knowing that I can use international guarantees or bank guarantees as a member. And also the e-commerce export store, they've partnered with Alibaba, which is translated into 18 languages and provides an opportunity to sell your product online internationally to hard-to-reach places like Asia. Some mishaps in the industry. So the companies spend a lot of money on production and marketing and packaging. And yet we still see some stores displaying the product turned over so that budtenders can see the strain name or the THC potency testing on the back of the package. So this would be considered a huge blunder in any traditional retail outlet if you're going to spend $50,000 on marketing and branding. And yet a lot of this is dismissed because it's a nascent industry. So Alec, similar to packaging being turned around, are you seeing anything at Dockside or what other mishaps have you seen?
Mishaps. Yeah, I think proper labeling. There has been some mishaps with things improperly labeled, or I think one of the most recent things was an edible company we brought in. They were actually way over the limit for what they should have had in their products, and we had to send that back. And that just all comes back to consistency, just being consistent with your product. But, you know, we're not defined by our mistakes. We're defined about how well we bounce back from them, right? So just keeping informed on what mishaps could occur and why they occurred and what we can do to move away from them. I mean, that's what we're about at Dockside.
Rebecca, you probably see a lot of fun stuff. Do you have anything that you can share about, being an early new industry, some mishaps that people can learn from?
Yeah, I mean, I think the packaging, to just reiterate that, is a huge thing. I think we spend a lot of money on that brand recognition, but for education within our Budtenders, we don't have it aligned, so it's phasing out. There's, a lot of mishaps that have happened in the media with certain brands that can bring that down too. I do see also with the online ordering, when we go back to brand recognition there, it's again that relationship and culture between your Budtender versus just going online to place an order for something. So I think a lot of that advertising, we need to get more back to the core of the actual product and the value of the product incorporated in that relationship with your Budtender and your brand.
Yeah, so I want to kind of expand on that a little bit. So one thing we know, we base our entire business off allowing the brand to market directly to the Budtender, because the brand can't market many other ways. And what's really been interesting, and it's been really fun to watch, over I say fun, depending on whose perspective you're talking about, over the last couple of years, which companies dedicate a certain amount of their marketing budget strictly to Budtenders. Because the problem with marketing to Budtenders is it's almost impossible to track your ROI. If you're doing a sales event and you're like, okay, I just met with 50 buyers and I got in 6 new shops, I know I've got X amount more sales than I had last month. When you're doing something with Budtenders, and I talked to 1,000 Budtenders, and I made an impression on hopefully 250 of them, and those 250 started pushing my product. Those 250 are spread out over 250 shops, or maybe less than that, but 150 shops. It's almost impossible to track that because you don't know where it happened. Now, there are POS systems out there that do, even Greenbits and some of the other ones, they do technically track what the Budtender sells, each Budtender. But what I've noticed, and as we've talked with a lot of these guys, most of them, because there is a high Budtender turnover, they don't put it in the system. They don't track it that much. It's really not all that. Because it's a lot of work to get their Budtender. So tracking that ROI for the advertising to your Budtender is hard to do. And it's been really interesting that I've noticed over the course of the last year and a half is the brands that will come in and they will drop a ton of cash on marketing to the Budtender. And then because they can't really justify the ROI, they stop. But then they start getting passed up by other companies that are marketing the Budtender, and they hear the Budtenders talking about other companies. Again, all anecdotal. And they come back. So it's really interesting because it's almost impossible to track that ROI. So you have to set aside a certain amount of marketing budget. And I'll give you a perfect example. A company that does an amazing job with that is PAX. PAX, now granted, they have huge deep pockets, but they may spend $6,000 buying a booth at an event like ours and then drop $25,000 on what they actually do to actually market to that Budtender when they're there. But they work on that Budtender, and I think they're seeing results.
Ashley, have you seen any other mishaps with packaging being turned around or anything weird like that?
Yeah. Almost, since the beginning of when I started, there's always going to be packaging issues. It's really tough to fit all the warning label and all the THC and content in a little tiny sticker. And I sell for Wild Mint topicals too, and we just have our label on the front and then our little sticker on the back. So if it can't fit in one of those, it's not on our package. And it's unfortunate, but it's what you deal with as a business. Just gotta put faith in your Budtenders, knowing about your product and pointing it out more or less.
And with that, we're going to roll this one up. I'm Josh Kincaid. This is the Talking Hedge. I want to thank all my guests for being here with the Budtender panel. That's Alec Langston. He's a Budtender at Dockside Cannabis. Bryan Yeager right here, CEO of lemonhaze.com. We have Ashley Hirchert, Budtender at Green Lady Pot Shop in Olympia. On the line with us is Rebecca Berry, Senior Account Manager at Wurk. And also on the line with us is Claire Kaufmann, Director of Client Services at Brightfield Group.
Previously recorded is Tom Geiger, Communications Director of the Union in Seattle, UFCW 21. Also, Kara Bradford and David Moret, co-founders at Viridian Staffing. And Zahra Kohl and Tyler Nesterenko of Budtenders Ball.
So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, or don't, and I'm out.